Welcome, everybody. It's nice to meet you. The behind the scenes stories of busy professionals. I am your host, Faleulu Ropati Nicolau Mikaele Pasi Penholo Lau Usofano, but you can call me Rob. We'll keep it super simple. Nice and easy there. This episode is brought to you by Get Ghosted. It's a LinkedIn ghostwriting and profile management service that helps to write all your posts, manage your DMs, manage the connection requests so you're targeting the right people, all that stuff. So you don't have to write a word and you can build your trust with the audience in record time because you're not doing any of that stuff. So if you're on Instagram but you're not on LinkedIn, make sure to get on LinkedIn. Get Ghosted is a service, but go to thedigitalwritingfirm.com for more information. Today, I'm excited because Jen Esparza is a marketing wizard and has written 2 books on marketing. And I've got a ton of questions because we want to pick her brain about the book content and her expertise. Man, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
The question that I usually try to start off with, kind of helps to get the wheels turning, is this. In the last 12 months, if you were to turn those 12 months into a Netflix special, what would that movie be about and what would you call it?
Oh my gosh, what would that movie be called? I mean, what would it be about? The last 12 months, it would be a journey of growth and fighting procrastination and getting out of my own way. And maybe that would be a great title right there. Just get out of my own way. Get out of your way.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Now, was the recent book part of that 12-month process or?
For sure. And writing a book, it obviously takes time out of your normal activities of running a business and being a mom and a wife and all those things. It's one of those things that you really want to get done, but then there's like that voice that creeps in of whether or not it's good, is it ready? And so a lot of that just procrastination, dragging my own feet, getting in my own way to actually cross that finish line.
And this is the marketing basics for nonprofits?
Yes, that's my second book. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Let's dive into that because I know there's so many nonprofit executive directors that struggle with marketing and perfect book.
Especially because whether you're a nonprofit or a small business, usually time and money are the 2 things you don't have a lot of. So if you don't have the resources or you don't even know where to start looking, to be able to just buy a book that is literally the basics of what you need to get started and will make an impact right away, that was, like my gift to the community of being able to get this out there to just help more people.
What makes a nonprofit different from a regular small business in terms of how you market for the organization?
If you're a good nonprofit, you are running like a small business because you are. But the challenges that they have more so than a small business is their funding. Like funding will come in different ways and need to be used in different ways. And so they've got a lot of hurdles to cross with that. And then their staffing, like oftentimes they're either all volunteers or it's a very small staff and turnover tends to be pretty high. So just having consistency is a big part of that problem. So I think the actual marketing tactics and things can be really similar, but the execution of them, keeping them simple, keeping them consistent, and having that consistent format so someone can jump in and take over if needed, those kind of things need to be set up just to help them be more successful.
Is it more difficult to turn like a reader into a donor? Or is it more difficult on the small business side to turn traffic into revenue?
Great question, I think, for what that's worth. I think it's trying to turn somebody into the donor only because people are just naturally a little selfish. So if you see a product you want, you buy it. But if somebody wants your money for something you don't get a return for necessarily, a tangible return, there might be a little more convincing to do. And that's what I feel for nonprofits. They actually have double the marketing to do because in one vein, they need to send a message that is to their donor audience. This is what we do. It's how we support your community. This is why you should help us. But then they also need a whole nother marketing strategy to reach the people that they serve, because those are 2 really different messages. If you were serving victims of sex trafficking, your message to the victims needs to be, we're a safe place. This is how you find us. This is what we offer you. Whereas to the donor, it's, hey, do you know what's happening in your community? These are the statistics. This is what's happened. This is how we've helped. This is what we can do to help make it not happen anymore, or whatever. This is how we serve them. And they're just 2 very different messages. So they kind of work cut out.
Yikes. Yeah. And all of that should be done ahead of time, right?
In theory.
'Cause sometimes they'll just go off of like their passion and then start this nonprofit and, oh, we want to help. But then all of a sudden, no money comes in. And I'm sending emails and we're knocking on doors and we're doing events, but there's no money coming in. What would you suggest for people that are struggling like that are struggling with their message?
And that's what I mean by folks need to run it like a business, even though it's a nonprofit, because there still needs to be like, is there a need for this in the community? Is anyone else doing the same thing? Should we join efforts together or should I do my own? And sometimes because of that passion, they forget to do that upfront work that, like, if you were a small business applying for a loan, the bank would ask you all of those questions. What is the need for this? And what are your projections and your earnings? And is there another business just like this down the street that it's going to take away from you? They missed that point. But you literally asked a question and tagged to that, and I don't remember what you asked me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What would you recommend them to do when they're like struggling with their message?
Their message. The first part of the book is like actually an entire assessment of the organization, asking them questions. And I think that really refining their message and asking themselves the questions of like, why are we doing this? And what's our value proposition? What do we really offer that's different? And really having those hard like conversations either with themselves or with their board to get to that sometimes that pit in your stomach where like you don't want to do the hard work, you don't want to have to answer the hard questions. And so taking a few steps back and just really diving into what is our purpose here and getting everyone to speak that same language, because people join nonprofits for different reasons, whether it's they want to save the puppy dogs, or because they want to meet people in the community and they want it to look good on their resume or whatever. There's like always different reasons of why people join something. Making sure they're all on the same page for one will help know that they're talking about the same thing to the community, and then just really getting clear as to what their purpose is so that can help build their story.
What do you, from your experience, more tactical, what works better for nonprofits? Would it be like social, email, billboards, events?
Like I said, easy and consistency are super important for a nonprofit just because of the way they're built. I think email is awesome for nonprofits once they've established themselves and they've got emails, because social media is fantastic and pretty much everybody can use it and needs it. But depending on what the algorithm gods are thinking today, you have no idea who sees it. Whereas if I send you an email, I know it lands in your inbox. Like, what you do with it's a whole nother story, and that's more strategy as to what to do in the email, but at least I know it went to you and you're going to see that. So for nonprofits, if they've already got an email list established, having regular, like, consistent emails sent so that people are hearing from you, you're top of mind. At the end of the year, I got a couple end of the year emails from nonprofits that were like, it's our end of the year campaign looking for donations, and the squeaky wheel got the donations. Like, yeah. We're all busy people, so we don't have time to just sit here and be like, wow, who should I donate to today? Whoever lands in my inbox is more likely to get it. So I think email is really important. Social media is great, but it can also just be, I don't want to say a waste of time, but if you're just doing it to do it, you might not be getting the return on the time investment you're putting into it. So while it's great that it's free, there's a time investment, and that's worth something too. So I think it's still necessary to have a strategy behind it before you go out and just post randomly.
Yeah. I'm being led to maybe like an example. We could brainstorm around this fictitious nonprofit and then see what you would recommend for them based on what the passion is. Would you be okay with that?
Sure.
Yeah. A sports and education nonprofit that is serving not the underprivileged, but more the wealthy area. And the kids need structure, need attention. Yeah, let's go there.
Okay.
For sports and education, what would be the rollout? Hey, do we go to the chamber, or how would they infiltrate the community to say, hey, we've got this program for our kids in this particular area?
So that's what I was going to first mention was your community can and should be your biggest cheerleaders when it comes to your nonprofit. whether it's this or anything, finding the people in the community who support a cause like yours is huge because it's like having free influencers all in your area. Nonprofits generally, unless they're huge, which that's not what we're talking about, they're serving the immediate community. So finding your people around the community who are already really involved and invested, to get them to start talking about you, to get them to be your cheerleaders. Again, it doesn't cost anything and it's priceless. And word of mouth and having that word of mouth recommendation is so huge. Getting referrals as a small business, getting your 5-star reviews is what that's like.
Right.
So I think chambers can be a great place to start in this case. I would definitely go to places where you're already going to find folks doing, you said sports, and do you say other activities or just
Sports and
education? So finding places where they're already participating in that to one, either partner, or two, just to find your audience to be able to maybe have an add-on program to what they're doing. I'm thinking like a lot of sports are already nonprofits like soccer leagues or whatever.
yeah,
So finding,
like
I'm sorry,
restaurants. Yeah, the pizza restaurants. I know they sponsor the sports league, so we could go there.
and sporting any kind of stores that are like a sporting goods store or a tutoring center, any kind of activities that are already supporting those groups, like I said, like a tutoring or who else supports kids. Also, just looking at what the school system is doing and how they support them and maybe finding the gaps. So that's part of your value proposition is that maybe on the school team, there's some people get cut. Here, everybody makes it because you're all participating in the same thing. Maybe there's more like a value system led here. So at school, it's just school. But here, the theater I worked with was a Christian youth theater. It's theater for kids, but they also, there's a underlying Christian and development of character that goes along with it. So that's different than maybe the theater you would get in school. Yeah, you have to come here and you pay to be in this theater at this nonprofit, but you're also getting all this character development and things like that. So finding those value propositions that kind of make you stand out and make you different will be what attracts your audience. And you really have to decide what the audience is of who you're even trying to attract. So like you said, it's the more affluent, really creating that like customer persona of who is it we're even going after. Like I said, yeah, the chamber is a great place, but who are you actually trying to find there? Like my chamber of commerce has thousands of people in it. Like who am I actually looking for? So doing that homework first to know who you've been looking for.
Yeah. Okay. So before somebody even thinks about launching something, they should do all this, go into the community, maybe ask questions, find the gaps, and then create the solution to fill those gaps as the nonprofit. So it's almost taking the passion and then adding more color to it based on what the need is, right, in the community.
Definitely. Because if there isn't a need, like your passion, what good is the passion? So you still have to be able to find a place to put it to use.
Wow. So they have to really be patient and not jump the gun and try to start something, but really get entrenched in the community, find first what's missing.
To be successful, I think, yeah, some folks are okay with starting small and they're okay with just helping a few and their intention isn't to grow some great big fabulous program, but for somebody who's looking to start something and they already have a vision of we're going to do one sport now, but then we're going to offer this tutoring and then we're going to offer this boxing program and then we're going to offer this. If you are really looking for something to expand, it is like running a business that you have to have that business plan laid out.
Yeah, I think that's important because I think a lot of nonprofits, well, at least the ones that have a desire, like it starts from the passion and then they're blind to the plan. It's like, oh, let's just go. We want to help people, and no plan until much later.
Yeah.
And then
And it doesn't mean that they don't have a great cause. Like I know somebody who started one, it just started out of a necessity. She saw some like she wanted to give women some to feel worth who were like homeless or in need. And so she started collecting like nice used purses and she'd fill them with necessities that a woman might need. And then it started snowballing. It took off. But then she was like storing everything in her garage because she had no place to store it. She was doing it all herself, having friends come over to help her stuff these bags full of donated stuff in her driveway. And it snowballed before she even really had a chance to figure out what she was doing. And that can help. That can cause burnout. That can just make you quit because you're like, oh, hold on, I didn't have time for this. I didn't realize. And so while I love that passion and I love like, yeah, let's just get up and go and let's just do something. If you're trying to build longevity, at some point you do have to do that work.
Yeah. So patience is a virtue. Yeah.
I don't have it, but hopefully they do.
So now on the flip side, for a small business, somebody has an idea, excited. Would you recommend the same process or a different process?
Very similar. And that's why, again, like, the first part of my whole book really is on those foundational things because I found people were coming to me and saying, I need social media because that's what you hear. You need to have a presence. But then I'd find that they had other like holes in their business. And I realized if you don't have people to answer the phone when everyone starts calling, if your product isn't quality and you're getting complaints, if you have really bad reviews, let's not even waste money on marketing yet. Like we need to fix some other things first. And talking about branding and making sure that your brand is on point, whether it's just talking about like color and logos and professionalism there, but also just your message and how you're portraying yourself to the world and things like your audience and your customer avatar. Who are you actually going after? And how to retain the customers you have. Sometimes folks get so caught up in more customers, they forget to take care of the ones they already have. And sometimes you can just upsell the ones you already have with your new products and you don't have to go find a bunch of new ones. So really getting that solid foundation of what it is that you're doing, getting all of those things figured out. And again, that's patience and that's like annoying because you just want to take off and go start your coffee shop or go with your new t-shirt line you have or whatever. But it saves you so much time in the long run if you do all that in the beginning.
What are your thoughts around validating an idea before you launch it?
Yeah, easier said than done, but it's important. And I think that's all these things we're talking about, your branding, your audience, you have to keep revisiting all of that too. An idea that you have right now and you try to validate it might not work. But maybe once you get a better footing in your community, more people know you, this no trust factor is stronger amongst them. And then you can try the same thing again. It doesn't mean it was a bad idea, but won't even be able to think of the title right now, but there's a great book that I have that's 100 ways to test ideas in businesses. While a small business owner probably doesn't have the time to read 100 ideas of ways to test, the concept there is like there are so many ways to validate an idea. And if you're going to invest your money or anyone else's money and your time in this, yeah, 100% you need to validate your ideas.
That's good. That's good. What would you say is your top skill set? Do you like writing? Do you like graphics or are you creative? Which one of those would be your strong suit?
Great question. I do love to write. If you just locked me in a room all day and let me write to my heart's content, I would be very happy. And hence the 2 books.
Right.
But as far as what I actually do for my clients on a daily basis, really it's building that strategy piece. As you can tell, I'm super passionate about making sure that all their ducks are in a row to help their business just really make sure there's a solid foundation to grow. And that's part of that strategy work of asking all those hard questions. Like I will always be the annoying one in the room that's, but what about this? And it's not because I want them to fail, it's because I want them to succeed. So let's get all of this stuff fleshed out. And then to ask the question of what really are your goals? And some people, it's hard to articulate their goals. It's, I want more money, or I want to be able to afford a new car for my teenager, or I need to pay for college. Actually articulating like the specificness and how you would measure those is harder for people. And so I love to work on that with folks so that we can create their plan and with actual goals and like benchmarks in place so that they can see by the end of the year, oh wow, look what we actually accomplished. Yes, my business is growing, because sometimes, especially as a business owner or a nonprofit, but you're just constantly in this like fight or flight mode. You're just constantly, oh my God, I need more business. I need more business, without stopping to go, hey, we're actually doing okay. So helping them build strategy into everything that they do so that they can see those benchmarks and go, yeah, actually, we're doing good. Yeah. Or we're not doing good and we need to change, but hopefully they're doing good.
What types of clients do you like working with?
Gosh, my clients vary so much. And a lot of them are like home services, so plumber, electrician, HVAC. I have med spas, esthetician. I have lots of nonprofits. And I wouldn't say that I have a favorite, which like my life would be so easy if I only did dentists, because I could just reuse all the messages. But I'm really attracted to the person I'm working with. I like to see somebody who does have that passion for what they do, for helping others, for just really wanting to make like a strong business, who like to help other people put food on their table and they're supporting their employees. Like I'm really attracted to the business owner who's just really out there with a great value system, lots of integrity, who's just trying to do their best.
Nice. And how do they find you, or do you find them?
Oh gosh, referrals are amazing. Back to the Chamber of Commerce thing. When I first started my business, I joined our Chamber of Commerce and I've got the most loyal group of referrers ever. Once they get to know you, that's been fantastic. And just my clients also will refer me to others. And so there's nothing better than getting a phone call or a text and it's, yeah, I heard about you from so and so. I told them what I needed and they said I had to talk to you. That feels good. But I mean, I've got a social media presence. I've got a website. I've got all those things that I'm supposed to be doing. I wouldn't say that people are like, wow, I saw your social media post and I called you. Like, those are just great markers for them to be able to check back. It's like my resume, right? Like they can go stalk me on my website and be like, what's this woman all about? And they can go to my social media and be like, okay, yeah, she's in business. This is what she does. This is her vibe. I like this. This is what I need. But I wouldn't say that's why they call me.
Yeah. Last question. What are your thoughts on AI?
Hmm. Yeah, love-hate relationship. I definitely people have asked, oh my gosh, is this going to take over your job? And no, not yet, at least. Because I still think that the person feeding the information into AI needs to know how to feed it in and how to still make it their own. I'm sure you can tell, just like anyone can tell if a post has a rocket ship. AI wrote that post on LinkedIn or something. But I think it's a great brainstorming tool. Like, it is a great way to say, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm trying to say, and it can really help formulate what you're trying to say better. It can really help be like, as a solopreneur, it can be a lonely job sitting in a room by yourself. So having this AI tool to bounce ideas off of and for them to correct your work or help add to your work is fantastic. So I think it's an amazing tool. I just think it needs to be used carefully and properly so that if you're just feeding it like, hi, I'm a marketing business and I need 10 posts about marketing, that's not going to resonate with anybody. That's not helpful.
Yeah, good. How can people find you, your social, and then the books? Where can they find the book?
Yes, on Instagram and Facebook, it's the Jen Advantage. My website's thejenadvantage.com. And then my books can be found on Amazon. This is my nonprofit book, Marketing Basics for Nonprofits and Marketing Basics for Your Small Business. They're both on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, wherever you buy a book. You can find it there online as well.
And they can, because you're on podcasts too, so they can YouTube and watch all the different podcasts you're on.
For sure. For sure. Definitely. Anywhere on YouTube, and then I'm on LinkedIn as well. But I'm on LinkedIn as just the Jen Advantage is on LinkedIn, but most of the stuff's just under Jen Esparza.
Yeah, nice. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Definitely
thank you.
a lot of knowledge today. Yeah,
Thanks.
this is good.
Yeah, this was fun.
Make sure to go to thejenadvantage.com, people. Check it out. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.